Part 27.4 Surah An-Naml, the Ants, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed, Kanzel Aman, Quran, An-Naml, the Ants. Chapter 27, verse 16. And Solomon inherited David, and he said, O people, we have been taught the speech of the birds, and we have been given of everything. Indeed, this is the manifest grace. The narrative thread continues seamlessly from the previous verse, focusing on the blessed succession of prophecy and kingship. And Solomon inherited David, not merely inheriting the throne and wealth, but crucially, the prophetic mantle, the wisdom, and the knowledge ilm that distinguished his noble father, David, peace be upon him. This spiritual inheritance signifies the continuity of divine guidance and authority. Solomon, peace be upon him, now a magnificent king and prophet, immediately addresses his people with a statement of both gratitude and factual disclosure. O people, we have been taught the speech of the birds, and we have been given of everything. The phrase taught the speech of the birds is a literal and symbolic demonstration of the extraordinary ill bestowed upon him by Allah, the All-Knowing. This knowledge breaks the barriers between the human realm and the rest of creation, granting him an understanding of the subtle languages of nature. It signifies mastery not through brute force, but through superior wisdom and insight, a key difference from the tyrannical power of Pharaoh. Symbolically, the speech of the birds represents the ability to understand the deeper, hidden meanings in creation, to perceive the divine signs within the natural order, and to command creation's subtle forces. The follow-up assertion, we have been given of everything, is an acknowledgement of the comprehensive dominion and blessing granted to his kingdom power. Wealth, a vast army, and control over diverse entities, including the unseen Jinn. However, this statement of immense power is instantly tempered by profound humility. Solomon, peace be upon him, does not claim this as a personal achievement or a right of his nafs. Rather, he explicitly declares, indeed, this is the manifest grace. The use of manifest grace al-Fadl, al-Muben, attributes every single aspect of his unprecedented fortune directly to the unmerited favor and overwhelming generosity of Allah, the Ar-Rahman. This declaration roots his absolute power in absolute Tawakal and gratitude, serving as a constant public reminder to his people that the kingdom is not his, but a trust from Allah. This contrasts perfectly with Pharaoh's arrogant claim to divinity, showcasing the spiritual character that turns immense power into a means of worship. Kanzal, Iman, Quran, An-Naml, the Ants. Chapter 27, verse 17. And gathered for Solomon were his armies of jinn and men and birds. And they were kept in order. This verse provides a vivid, awe-inspiring glimpse into the sheer scope and organization of Solomon's peace be upon him, immense domain. Detailing the nature of the power that was part of the manifest grace, verse 16, the description emphasizes the total control and unique diversity of his forces. And gathered for Solomon were his armies of jinn and men and birds. This is a kingdom unlike any other in human history, demonstrating Allah's power to subject elements of creation that are normally beyond human command. The inclusion of jinn beings of fire, unseen and possessed of subtle powers, highlights the supernatural authority granted to Solomon, peace be upon him. His control over them meant he could utilize their skills and speed for architectural marvels and rapid transport, tasks that ordinary men could not accomplish. The inclusion of men emphasizes his sovereignty over the known human world, confirming his temporal kingship. And the inclusion of birds, which speaks back to the speech of the birds, verse 16, shows his command over the natural world, giving him access to aerial intelligence and communication. This diverse host represents the entirety of the created realm, both seen and unseen, being marshaled under one just command. Crucially, this vast and diverse army was kept in order, Yuzun. This signifies a meticulous, organized military discipline, demonstrating Solomon's peace be upon him, masterful administration, and Allah's blessing upon his governance. The sheer logistics of maintaining order among such heterogeneous forces, jinn, men and birds, is itself a miracle, a testament to the ilm and wisdom granted to the Prophet King. This disciplined order reflects the spiritual harmony within Solomon, peace be upon him himself, where the different aspects of his nafs and kalb were unified under the light of Ruh and divine obedience. This orderly, powerful kingdom stands as the physical embodiment of the righteous submission that Pharaoh, the defiant, utterly lacked. Unveil, Quran, An-Naml, the ants. Chapter 27, verse 18. Until, when they reached the valley of the ants, an ant said, "O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Solomon and his armies should crush you without their knowing." The focus of the majestic marching army is suddenly and dramatically narrowed to the humble scale of a single creature, the ant, giving the surah its very name. As Solomon, peace be upon him, as colossal forces travel, they reach the valley of the ants. This is a moment of profound spiritual and narrative contrast. The immense power of the army, encompassing jinn, men, and birds, is juxtaposed with the fragile vulnerability of the ant colony. In this instance, Solomon, peace be upon him's gift of understanding the speech of the birds, and by extension, the speech of creatures, comes into play. He is able to hear and comprehend the urgent warning given by an ant to the rest of the colony. "O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Solomon and his armies should crush you without their knowing." This single line is rich with layers of meaning. The ants' warning is driven by a deep sense of community and urgency, demonstrating the intrinsic order and intelligence that Allah has placed within all creation. More importantly, the ant's choice of words is highly sophisticated. It does not accuse Solomon, peace be upon him, or his army of malice or tyranny, but rather acknowledges the crushing would occur without their knowing. This is a recognition of the Prophet King's justice and righteousness. The ant fears accidental, not intentional, harm. This humble creature implicitly trusts Solomon's, peace be upon him, character and knows that he would never knowingly commit injustice. This recognition from an ant is a higher praise than any human compliment, affirming the spiritual integrity of the kingdom. This moment showcases the comprehensive nature of Solomon's, peace be upon him, ilm, and Allah's magnificent awareness of even the smallest creatures in his dominion, underscoring the absolute omniscience of the all-knowing. Unveil, Quran, An-Naml, the ants. Chapter 27, verse 19. So he smiled, amused at her speech, and said, "My Lord, inspire me to be thankful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and that I may do righteous deeds that please you, and admit me, by your mercy, among your righteous servants." The Prophet King's response to the ant's speech is perhaps one of the most sublime and spiritually instructive moments in the entire Quran. So he smiled, amused at her speech. ... double quotes. His reaction is one of gentle joy and wonder, a prophet's humble amusement at the sheer diversity and purpose in Allah's creation. This moment of personal delight is immediately followed by a spontaneous, profound prayer, which completely overshadows his smile. This instantaneous shift demonstrates the state of his purified qalb and the perfect control of his nafs. A fleeting moment of worldly enjoyment instantly directs him back to the source of all joy and blessing. His prayer is a masterpiece of prophetic humility and dependence. "My Lord, inspire me to be thankful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents." Single. The prayer begins with a petition for gratitude. Solomon, peace be upon him, recognizes that the ability to be thankful is itself a greater favor than the gift itself. He seeks divine inspiration off Siani to maintain this state of continuous gratitude, acknowledging that even his thankfulness must be sustained by Allah. He attributes the favor not just to himself but to his parents, acknowledging the continuity of blessing and the importance of righteous lineage. The prayer continues with a request for action. ... and that I may do righteous deeds that please you. ... He does not ask for more power or wealth, but for the moral and spiritual fortitude to use his existing gifts only in ways that gain Allah's pleasure. His vast empire is thus dedicated to achieving Rida, the supreme divine satisfaction. Finally, he concludes with the ultimate plea, ... and admit me, by your mercy, among your righteous servants. Despite his immense status, power, and Solomon, peace be upon him, humbly recognizes that his entry into paradise will not be by the merit of his own deeds, but purely by the mercy rahmah of Allah, and he asks to be included among the general body of Allah's righteous servants. This is the zenith of humility, Tawakal, and spiritual awareness, providing a perfect model for every believer. Unveil, Quran, and Naml the ants. Chapter 27, verse 20. And he inspected the birds, then said, "Why do I not see the hoopoe? Is he among the absentees?" The narrative returns from the profound spiritual intimacy of Solomon, peace be upon him. S prayer back to the meticulous administration of his kingdom, seamlessly blending the prophetic and the kingly. The vast army which was kept in order, verse 17, now undergoes a detailed inspection. And he inspected the birds. This shows Solomon, peace be upon him, his hands-on approach to governance and his commitment to the principle of accountability, even within the avian division of his army, emphasizing that no detail of the kingdom, however small, escapes his attention. During this inspection, he notices a subtle gap in the ranks, then said, "Why do I not see the hoopoe?" The hoopoe, a specific type of bird, was likely a crucial asset in his army, perhaps utilized for scouting, messages, or locating water, given the desert terrain. This is the wisdom granted by the all-knowing, the ability to notice the absence of a single, seemingly minor element. His immediate question is one of rigorous military discipline and fair inquiry. Is he among the absentees? This is not a rash judgment, but a systematic check of records. Solomon, peace be upon him, confirms the bird's absence before proceeding to any decision. This detail highlights his wise and just methodology of leadership, which involves first seeking full information before acting. This minor episode sets the stage for a fascinating narrative arc involving the hoopoe, which will further elaborate on Solomon's, peace be upon him, justice, the power of ilm, and the unexpected ways in which truth can be revealed from the most humble of sources, echoing the theme of the ant in the preceding verses. The king's attention to a single missing bird illustrates that true spiritual dominion requires perfect attention to every element of the trust bestowed by Allah. The narrative of Solomon, peace be upon him, and the ant, verses 16 to 20, stands as the ultimate counter-narrative to the fall of Pharaoh. The core theme is the profound difference between power rooted in arrogance and power rooted in gratitude and ill. Solomon, peace be upon him, despite his absolute dominion over jinn, men, and birds, instantly attributes everything to manifest grace, verse 16. Whereas Pharaoh, a mere man, claimed divinity. Solomon, peace be upon him, his ability to hear the ant is the perfect symbol of his spiritual perception, or batten his inner self, which is attuned to the subtle realities of creation, confirming his role as a just and wise ruler. His prayer in verse 19 is the pinnacle of this segment. It is a masterpiece of spiritual engineering, where the spontaneous joy of a worldly miracle hearing the ant is immediately channeled into a request for perpetual gratitude and righteous deeds pleasing to Allah. This demonstrates the perfect state of his kalb, which never allows the nafs to become self-absorbed and constantly redirects all blessings back to the Creator. His final plea for admission by your mercy confirms his deep awareness that even his own perfection is merely a gift, and ultimate success is solely dependent on the boundless grace of Allah, the Ar-Rahman. The meticulous inspection of the birds then shows that this profound inner humility did not translate into lax leadership, but into an even more rigorous, detail-oriented administration, proving that spiritual depth enhances, rather than detracts from worldly responsibility. This surah uses these prophetic figures to teach the fundamental principles of Tawakal and the governance of the nafs. Hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught, "Whoever is given a favor, and he says to the doer of the favor, 'May Allah reward you with good,' he has indeed praised enough." Sunan At-Tirmidhi Hadith 2035. This hadith beautifully reinforces the spiritual essence of Solomon, peace be upon him's prayer in verse 19. Solomon, peace be upon him, upon recognizing the vast favor of understanding the ant's speech, immediately turns not to self-congratulation, but to the source of all favor, saying, "My Lord, inspire me to be thankful for your favor." He acknowledges that the ability to offer gratitude is the highest form of praise, and that even the ability to be thankful is a favor from Allah that must be sought. The hadith, by emphasizing the importance of acknowledging the favor and rewarding the doer with a prayer, validates Solomon's, peace be upon him, act of instantly channeling his joy into a plea for perpetual gratitude. His humility, despite the scale of the favor, sets the highest possible standard for the believer's response to the blessings of Allah, ensuring that the kalb remains pure and the nafs is constantly subdued by the awareness of divine grace. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. O Allah, grant us the spiritual wisdom to recognize when the oppressors project their own inner rage and spiritual turmoil onto the righteous. Guard our hearts from the fatal arrogance of worldly power that boasts of being a vigilant group, unaware of your absolute, all-seeing eye. Protect us from the destructive spiritual trap of deep attachment to gardens and springs and earthly treasures, which leads the soul away from your path. Make us worthy, through patience and faith, to be the inheritors of spiritual and worldly goodness, granted through your decree of ultimate justice. Grant us the grace to stand firm when the forces of denial pursue us, knowing that our ultimate security rests in your divine command. Instill in us the certainty that the end of worldly pursuit is ruin, while the end of faith's journey is the gift of your eternal proximity. Sustain us with your boundless provision and save us from the pride that forfeits the akira for fleeting worldly gain. We ask for this spiritual clarity and victory through your magnificent names, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Amin.